The game that we're going to look at is a game that was played with by Larsen with white pieces and Boris Spassky, the former world champion, with black pieces in 1970 during the match of the Soviet Union against the rest of the world. Those matches are not held anymore, of course, because the Soviet Union is not more the Soviet Union. But in those times it happened a few times that these matches were organized. The best players of the Soviet Union played against the best players of the rest of the world. And in this game the white player is the Grandmaster Larsen, that as many times he opened with b2, b3. That's an opening that the idea is to take, of course, put the bishop on b2 and attack the center, influence the center from the side, instead of occupying the center with the pawns immediately. So Spassky answers e5 and then bishop b2. The knight goes to c6 and then c4, occupying the d5 square, and black keeps developing with knight f6. Now comes a move knight f3. The idea is to develop a piece, of course, but also to invite the e5 pawn to advance to e4. That sounds maybe strange if you have never seen this, but the idea is that if the pawn advances to e4, in the future it can become weak. This is the same idea that we see in openings like the Alekhine defense. That starts with e2, e4, and then black plays knight to f6 immediately, inviting the pawn from e4 to go to e5. So that's the idea behind it. And Boris Spassky was not afraid. He just played his pawn to e4. After knight d4, Spassky played bishop to c5, attacking the knight, and already developing most of his pieces. The knight has to make a decision, and he took on c6, and black took with the d pawn. And we already see that black has two pieces developed, and the third light piece can be developed easily. And the center is quite open. White is not so good developed. Well, only this one is developed, but still he needs to develop his knight and develop his bishop and find a way to castle with his king. So black is going to get dynamic play. This bishop is very strong, put on this diagonal to f2. So that's why Larsen played in this position the move e3 to shorten that diagonal. Boris Spassky answered with bishop f5, and after queen c2 he went on with queen to e7, with the idea to make it possible to castle on the queen side. White played bishop to e2, preparing to castle kingside, and black castles queenside, putting his rook in the beautiful half-open file, the d file. Now comes a moment when white plays a move that is actually not very good, f4. The idea, of course, is that that black cannot take en passant on f3, because then the bishop is hanging. So that's the idea behind f4, and he occupies the center field. The answer of Spassky is knight to g4. Actually, with this move he's warning white. He's telling him, if you castle on the king side, I'm going to enter with my queen to h4 and attack. So white decided to play the pawn to g3 to have some control over on this square, and of course white could not have played h3 immediately, because then comes queen h4 after king d1, knight takes e3 with winning the queen. So that's why he played g3 in that position. Black went on with his warning, his aggressive moves, h5, and white thought that it was possible to chase the knight away by playing h3. Now this was miscalculating, because the knight stays there. Here comes the start of very beautiful moves by Boris Spassky. The first one is h4. He sacrifices a piece with the idea to open the h file. White accepts the sacrifice, he takes on g4, and black takes on g3. Now, of course, it wouldn't be good for white to take on h8 the rook, because black takes back, and then black gets a very strong attack with this open file. So that's not very smart thing to do. So in this position, white decided to try to be careful and place rook to g1. And here comes the most beautiful move by black, the most beautiful move of the game, and maybe one of the most beautiful moves ever played. It's the move rook to h1. A wonderful sacrifice. White takes the rook, and then comes g2. And now this rook is attacked on h1. The normal move would be rook to g1, but then comes queen h4 check, and after king to d1, queen h1, and black wins. So this normal move, rook to g1, was not possible. So what Larsen did is he went with his rook to f1, with the idea, okay, I give you the rook back, and still I'm a piece ahead. But here came a surprise. Black gave check on h4, and after king d1, black took the rook, promoting, and in this position Larsen resigned, because he's totally lost. We can have a look at what could happen if white takes on f1, then comes bishop takes g4 check, and after king c1, queen goes to e1, and then is made the next move. So this was the game, and I find it one of the most exciting games ever played. Only in 17 moves Boris Spassky won against Larsen.